To be able to be around somebody and to not project you onto them is a challenge. It's not easy. It takes work for you to not project your insecurities, for you to not project your pain, for you to not project your thoughts and beliefs. Like to be able to sit in a room with 5 different religions and not say the way you're living is wrong. Essentially is what we're talking about here. And a lot of us believe that we're right. We really believe like how we're living is right and the way you're living is wrong. But who's it according to?
Roll me, Mac.
Does sabotaging yourself give you an odd sense of comfort? I want to say that, especially like, I really go to my 20s. My 20s were very pivotal years as far as for my mental health journey, at least looking back at things, because of what God in the universe had given me at the time, as far as the things that I had so desired, probably in childhood, was there before me. And I elected to run from fear. Like fear of like abandonment, fear of pain, really. And like having the rug pulled from beneath you. So I would say, hell yeah, sabotaging gave a comfort. It's like I don't have to worry about anybody. I don't have to be concerned with anyone being able to get to me, which is, it's all an illusion in your mind. Because what I've learned is that in order to want to feel love, which is what we all do, everything we do, I believe everything we do is about love, right? You're not able to truly, in my mind, I believe that you're not truly able to feel love without feeling some sort of pain. Back then I was very much in shock of my imaginary surroundings, that at least what I thought was my like support system or something like that, and it turns out that it was nothing what I thought it was. And so in my mind I'm like, if these people can carry themselves this way and project their pain onto me the way that they did, who's to say that this stranger is not able to do the same? Experiencing trauma. And a lot of us respond to trauma in different ways. The way I responded to trauma was like, there's gotta be some kind of euphoric way of living somewhere out there. It's gotta be better than what I'm experiencing right now. You know what I'm saying? And I was determined to find it. I was determined to create the perfect situation. I was looking for perfection. It was a trauma response. You know what I'm saying? So the wild part is that like when you're trying to find something, it's like a backwards law where you believe that like whatever you're going after, whatever you're trying to do, I'm trying to get into a relationship and it doesn't happen. When you don't even, the things that you want come to you when you're not even focused on that, you know, and then it's just like almost like the temptation thing. Like something will be right there. That person's ready for a relationship and this person isn't. You know what I'm saying? Then when that person is looking for a relationship, they get the relationship that is toxic for their mental health at the time. And you know what I'm saying? It's not to say that you don't necessarily find a healthy destination by looking for whatever you're looking for, you know what I'm saying? But like sabotaging, it just was like, all right, cool. If I shut this thing down, I don't have to worry about anybody trying to get to me, hurt me, make me look stupid. Really, all the ego wars that go on in the mind, like being like to truly I mean, I have to admit it, you know, to truly love something, you have to be willing to look like a fucking fool. And you have to decide who in your life is worth looking like a fool for. It just took some time. It really took time to know who to look a fool for. And because it's all perspective. Because I mean, nothing a person does is about you. So the way you love is just the way you love. And sometimes the way that you love may not match the way that another person loves. A person may want something that you don't. You may want something another person doesn't. But love is love, right? Whatever love you give it unconditionally. Anything transactional, I don't think has anything to do with love. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a lot of us do that. We love with transactions. Like, I'll do it if you do this type thing, instead of like, all right, whatever happens. It's like giving money to the homeless. You don't expect that homeless person to give you money back. You just gave it unconditionally. And that's what we do with love. So like, that's why you don't do anything that you don't want to do. And you say yes when you want to say yes. You say no when you want to say no. However that person responds is all about them and their, I guess, their emotional maturity. Because you're not required to do anything for anybody. You know what I mean? And I had to learn that early on, because I grew up in a home where if I didn't do what was asked of me, told of me, then love would be removed, if you will, or a cold shoulder. You know what I'm saying? And so it's like that's people pleasing training 101 when you do that. And I don't believe that my folks, you know, knew what they were doing as far as that goes. I mean, it's just, I believe that's too far complex. I believe they're just doing what the fuck was done to them. And it's like learning to break toxic cycles. And I want to say that I do my best to try to break toxic cycles, especially for the simple fact of people pleasing, because I can get in the mode where like something fearful comes up or something challenging comes into life, and that people pleasing aspect will come into play. And then before I know it, I'm not living my life, I'm living theirs. I'm being a puppet. I'm being what others want me to be. And I am not, I'm not equipped to do so. Yeah, I don't believe anyone else is equipped to do it either. And you know what I'm saying? That's just my belief about us as humans, as far as like how we are to carry ourselves. To be able to be around somebody and to not project you onto them is a challenge. It's not easy. It takes work for you to not project your insecurities, for you to not project your pain, for you to not project your thoughts and beliefs. Like, to be able to sit in a room with 5 different religions and not say the way you're living is wrong, essentially, is what we're talking about here. And a lot of us believe that we're right. We really believe like how we're living is right and the way you're living is wrong. But who's it according to? You know what I'm saying? Like, even for us that grew up in religion, you know, Christianity, you could have this form of Christianity says that this is wrong to do this. You have this other form of Christianity, this Baptist church over here, you know what I'm saying? Like, they see it differently. Who's to say that that person was doing it maliciously and that person was doing it maliciously? Could it just be that they just come from different cultures? They just have different ways of doing things. Don't get me wrong. I believe there's evil in the world. You know what I'm saying? There are evil things, but the evil is based off of what you believe in. You know what I'm saying? And it's like coming to an understanding that we end up projecting our beliefs onto people, and then we judge them based off of them not coinciding with our beliefs, instead of seeing it from how they're living their life. Where does that come from? I don't believe people set out. I don't believe a person is setting out like that they're doing, like they're setting out that they're doing this wrong. Like, a part of them believes that this is justified in a sense. You know what I'm saying? So you know, even with the sabotaging, I believe I was justified in my thing because I was trying to protect myself. And I was trying to protect myself from pain because I didn't want to look like a fool again for someone, because I was loving conditionally. And it's when you come to the realization about such, fear. I mean, there's only, I believe in the concept that Don Miguel Ruiz talks about. You can only live in love or you can live in fear. And a lot of us, we tend to live in fear. Fear of rejection, fear of abandonment, fear of being on our own, fear of walking that path towards a goal that you're not able to see what's on the other side, and you just working towards something. I mean, I pretty much believe that's what we do on a daily basis. All we do is just live away. Some of us are living in a hamster wheel and we do the same thing and it makes us feel safe. But then there's others, like others of us, who are trying to change the path in which we take, and it's a path that we haven't seen before. And it can be fearful because it's fear of the unknown. You don't know what's on the other side. You don't know it was a good decision or a bad decision until you look back at your life. And that's all we ever do is just step forward. We're walking up the stairs in the dark, hopes that we don't trip. But if we trip, if we can look up, we can get up, according to Les Brown. You know what I'm saying? Like, just keep moving forward. So, like, sabotage, yes, it does. Sabotage, especially like in my 20s, definitely gave me a sense of comfort. I was my way of protecting myself from the evils of the world. The people that take advantage of you, the people you love the most, know how to get to you. You know what I'm saying? And that's the tricky part about love. You have to, it requires vulnerability in a sense that what I'm showing you, you could use against me. But do I care about my ego or do I care about loving from my soul is the question. And we go back and forth. A lot of us have ego deaths every day, and we just press forward. We try to, we just try to live our life with that in mind, that, hey, shit can get fucked up today. Somebody I trusted yesterday could fuck me over today. I just have to accept it. It can't distort our expectations or our entitlement of, this particular person. A person is only going to be who they are. So whoever's in front of you, just believe who they are right then and there. And you decide if that's what you want to, keep in your life, because you have to protect your mental health first. You know what I'm saying? And I do my best to work at that. You know what I'm saying? I do my best to try to, all right, cool. I have to love myself more than, because if I don't, I'm going to allow you to do anything to me. I'm going to let you take advantage of me. I'm going to let you make me responsible for you and all these other things because I don't love myself. It's a lesson. It's a life lesson for us all, really, to kind of look at ourselves and ask ourselves, are we taking on too much? Do I have too much weight for my flight, for a departure? Am I going to be able to fly with this much weight on me, or probably should I lighten the load in order to get to the altitude in which I'm working towards? And some people have the courage to do so, and some people put others before them, and they allow toxicity to stay in their life. I can honestly say that I don't carry myself in that manner anymore, to the best of my ability. Once I recognize, I'm like, oh, okay, all right, cool. I gotta look out for me. And that's the thing. Everybody has to look out for them. That's how we help out each other. You do what's best for you. Do what's best for me. And it's nothing, it's nothing to take personal for either side to take it personal, because again, that person's not responsible for your happiness. So, but sabotage definitely did bring me some form of comfort. And now that, thanks to therapy and, I would say being in tune with the universe and spirituality, with God and all that stuff, it has allowed me to see myself in a different light, in hopes of, not sabotaging what God and the universe has given to me. So I guess we'll see what happens going forward.
Yo, real quick, I just need you guys to like, comment, and subscribe to this episode as well as this channel.
What accusation would you defend yourself most fiercely against, even though you know it's true? The accusation that they're afraid to love. I believe so. I believe that's probably something that, and you know, don't get me wrong, like I can offer love, but like that downright, what I just mentioned in the other episode, the willing to look like a complete fucking fool for a person. Yeah, there's a part of me that won't relinquish, won't allow that to occur. You know what I mean? Could that be preventing me from a lot of things? Sure, it very well could be. But there is method to the madness, I would say, as far as like productivity. I look back at myself and I remember when I did love blindly, you know, and when I did that, it was a feeling of I'm not good enough for this shit. You know, I'm not good enough for family. I'm not good enough for this individual that did this shit to me, and you know what I'm saying. So it was like my mind was taken to a very, very dark place, right? Just for the sake of being a quintessential nice guy, a beta male, blue pill, whatever you want to call it, that we call it in the manosphere. Like being someone that was just downright for like worship the ground that a woman walked on. I mean, I was raised to do that. So, but to actually do that and carry yourself like a son to a mother in a relationship, that's what, I mean, essentially that's what happened. I believe that's what happens when a man truly loves a woman. He actually, you know, it's home. You know, it becomes home. So home is like mom and dad. You know what I'm saying? Like to the point where you carry yourself like a son. Now the thing is, I was looking for coddling, if you will, to finish the parts of what I believe I didn't get in my childhood. You know what I'm saying? And the thing is, there's love and obviously about attraction. There's nothing attractive about a man acting like a boy or a son to a woman. But coincidentally, that is exactly how a man who truly loves his woman behaves. So there's that fear of me really just turning that way to a woman. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I just find myself really asking, you know, I was asking myself, like, could I really do that? Could I really allow myself to do that again? Would I go as far as to being that fucking vulnerable? But it's like, if that's a turnoff, like to that degree in which I did, and let me be clear on this, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm sure, like, if any of the women that I was actually in relationships with, especially like in my, you know, I say my 20s and I would say early 30s, and they would definitely vouch for you. Like, that shit was not cute. That shit was not cute. Acting like, you know what I'm saying? Like you had no form of leadership in you. And you needed a mother. You wanted, like, you had done all the work, and now I'm like, all right, now I got my woman. Now I need you to baby me. No, man. And so I balance with it. I go back and forth with it. I decide, like, how is a man to carry himself? And I would say that I've done pretty well as of recent, thanks to a lot of teachings and beliefs that I've taken on in the last 5 years, for myself, as far as understanding masculinity. And I believe there's a certain way that a man must carry himself. But that fear of that form of love is, that's the accusation, I'm sure, of being encountered with someone who tries to love. And it's like, depending on how they do it, if it's very triggering from the past, if it feels anything remotely like what I've dealt with in my childhood, I have that fight or flight shit. Flight is right there. You can feel it. You can feel it right there inside you, and makes me human, right? Definitely makes me human, and being, I would say, bold enough to even just discuss the shit, to see what's going on. Like, so you can see what goes on inside a man's mind. I won't say all men's mind, but a man's mind. Even for one who, I would say, carries himself in a masculine frame, the things that go on in our mind. And there is that fear, there's that fear of wanting, for us, it's like gaining all these resources, right? Building yourself up as a man so that you can share that with people that you value in your life. Now, for most men, in a traditional sense, it's for your wife and your kids and all that shit. And we live in an age today where there's a lot of entitlement. And it's almost like, it's not even to the point where gratitude is here anymore. There's an expectation, I would say, from some women. I'm sure some men, but for this particular, what I'm talking about, ladies, before y'all get ready, hold up, because y'all do it too. Relax, goddammit, okay? I'm talking about fucking this situation from my standpoint, okay? There's some women that have a sense of entitlement. You know what I'm saying? And once you see that shit, fuck that. You know what I'm saying? Like, to find that woman that is so willing to get into her femininity, man. I promise you, there is, and if a man is on his, especially for a man that's on his purpose, that's looking for a woman to compliment his life and bring peace to it, there's the amount of, I would say, benefits that come from that. I can't express it enough. You know what I'm saying? Like, truly, like a woman that really is on your team. She's not trying to take your position, as in being her masculine. You know what I'm saying? Like, she truly trusts you to fucking lead. Like I said, the benefits that come from a woman being in their feminine towards a man that's in his masculine. It's the things that I would say that you probably talked about all your life, getting from that of a man, because that's what we look for in women. In heterosexual relationships, let me be clear. Shout out to all the LGBTQ followers and viewers, but this is about the heterosexuous that's going on right now. And for them to, for a woman that can be in her, truly be in her feminine, without the fear of what I'm talking about, the fear of letting yourself go and then looking like a fucking fool. It's contradicting, I'm sure, but this is the truth. But for a woman to be able to be that comfortable, allow herself to be comfortable with being uncomfortable, being in her femininity when she knows that she's going to be caught. You know what I'm saying? That's what, they talk about it in Hitch, being able to jump out of the plane with no parachute. You know what I'm saying? And I guess that's the courage to work yourself up to it. Some are stronger than others. You know what I'm saying? Some are like, fuck it, man. I'm just gonna love this way, and we'll see what happens. And then you got some of us that are like, I'm tip my toe in the water real quick. Man, that shit cold. Man, that shit kind of hot. But hold up, you know what I'm saying? But I believe it takes time for all of that, right? So, like I said, that the accusation that you are, you can call it afraid of commitment or fear of love, whatever you want to call it. Like, there is no fear in love, so it's just living in fear, right? And the first way out of it is acknowledging it. Takes it out of your head and puts it, somewhat on paper, if you will, when you acknowledge said fear. And what is the fear? The fear that you won't be loved the same. So conditional, a conditional love mindset is what we see going on for, I would say, probably like folks like myself that tries to, again, teach himself unconditional love on a daily basis. First starting with oneself, you know what I'm saying? Like being able to love yourself despite your imperfections, despite your shortcomings. And, it's a challenge. And challenge I'm up for. But it's different for, like I said, I believe love is viewed very differently for men than it is for women. I believe men view love as a respect. You know what I'm saying? I believe that most men view, I believe that some of us men view love as respect. And I believe that women can view it as kindness, if you will. As far as like, not niceness. Niceness gets you taken advantage of, and that's for men and women. But like the kindness, to know to have healthy boundaries, to feel seen, to feel heard. You know what I'm saying? Like, I believe that that's very, I think it's important for all of us, but especially I believe that's for women due to the fact of being so emotionally in tune. I'll say for the most part. Don't get me wrong, some of us grew up in some situations where we weren't able to express our emotions, so that shit has been suppressed. But for a lot of us that was able to be comfortable sharing those emotions, to find somebody who is able to, I want to say, I'm not gonna say accepting of it, but you just, you embrace, like to be embraced, to be seen, heard, and loved. Essentially, I believe that's how, I would say an emotional, like I said, an emotionally in tune woman views love. And it's something I had to learn, not trying to love the way that not loving the way I want to, like the way I love. You know what I'm saying? It's learning how to love somebody. Being able to be in tune with them, watching how they carry themselves, what parts of them are there, parts are their insecurities. Is it something that, something they're insecure about in themselves and that they do not project onto you, but like being able to allow a person to heal. That's what love can do. I believe love can do that. Love definitely allows you to heal if it's done in an effective way. And it takes, like I said, man, it takes mad time. It takes mad time to understand that shit. But when we come from some shit where it's like toxicity is love, it gets confusing as to how that, what that is. So I would definitely say that has been a part, and attest to why it's so hard to trust when it comes to matters of love. So, I guess that's just a little bit of the reasons for that, that fear that comes with being that vulnerable about love. But it's a work in progress, man. Like I said, the acknowledgement is a step towards, being, like I said, being better, being best, if you will. But yeah, that's it. what are the common places you go to every payday for essentials? All right, so for me, the commissary on base. And naturally, if you got a commissary near you and you able to get on base, the meat at the commissary is mad cheap. So I definitely go there to get. For the most part, I get just the meat. I mean, majority of stuff is meat. Other stuff is like certain ramen. There's like a ramen that I like to get from there. And then of course Walmart. Walmart is where I'll probably get cilantro from. Cilantro, I get like brown rice, like minute rice, brown rice, sort of like my boring meals, like chicken breast and broccoli, and then just have like one like cup of brown rice. Aldi for sure. Aldi is where I get all my broccoli from, like broccoli, and then sometimes when I decide to go to spinach and mushrooms. So mushrooms, broccoli, and then whatever else is there. Sometimes I'll look and see if they have anything like electronic wise, or like the gift stuff wise, where I can use for like an eBay. And then Dollar Tree is candy. When I used to rack up on candy, I kind of been chilling out lately with that. But Dollar Tree for sure is another place where I would where I go to get like stuff like that. Like I'll get birthday cards and stuff, whatever occasion is going on. I'll get cards from there, birthday cards, anniversaries, somebody, like having a loss and whatnot, like for work, and being able to get a card for somebody, like if somebody has a loss, or somebody has a birthday, and getting stuff like that. So I'd say, and BJ's too, got to get in bulk and stuff, like what I'm saying, like you want to buy in bulk for, sometimes you can get like meat there, but like drinks, like Gatorade. Like a matter of fact, I need to go there and get like a gang of fucking Gatorade, because I've been racking up on that lately. That's the Gatorade Zero. So that's like that's part of my post workout and right before going to work. So shit like this. But that's what I would say is like the essentials that I do each payday. What is the most passive-aggressive way that you've dealt with your rage? Right? Yeah. What is the most passive-aggressive way that you've dealt with your rage? The most passive-aggressive way I've dealt with my rage is carrying on like ain't shit wrong. And that's something that we were all taught to do in our family. I'm in my perspective. You know what I'm saying? Like, I got an issue with you over there. But because I don't know how to manage my emotions in a healthy way, I'm gonna just carry on like ain't shit wrong, but I'm going to be resentful. I'll show up at functions, but I can't be, my just authentic self around you. I won't allow myself to do it. I put up this wall. Like the person that, you were able to see when I was like moving carelessly and just so freely, I don't know if you'll ever see that person again. And that's what I know myself enough. Like if I find that you got that type of personality where, I'm saying, like you like to manipulate and tear people, you like to tear one down, you won't ever see the same me again. I assure you. Like projecting, like insecurities, making me responsible for you, you'll never see that person again. The same person that was a lot more open, if you will. Yeah, and it's truthfully just goes down to not everyone reserves the right to have you in that manner. It's a form of, it's passive aggressive. So that to me, passive aggressiveness is toxic, nevertheless. But to have that boundary of not allowing a person to get that close to you, due to how they've carried themselves in previous moments, especially like if you've been very open with them, it's understandable for you to want to protect yourself. And like, it's like aluminum foil, you know, aluminum foil, once you pull it out the thing or whatever, rip it off, it's all flat. But what shit is done to it, it'll never be the same smooth surface again. And it's not to say that it won't work. I'm sure we done all wrapped up at cookouts, hot dogs, hamburgers, ribs, whatever, in aluminum foil, and but it was never flat again. And that's the, I guess that's the interesting part of dealing with those emotions. Again, in a passive aggressive way. That's clearly a sign that you do not know how to manage your emotions. And that's one thing for a person to admit. And because you probably never felt heard. So you deal with things in a very resentful way. You know, it's not head on, if you will. And then some situations don't require like a conversation, especially not when you've had these conversations before and a person insists on doing the same shit. I would say the most passive aggressive way of dealing with rage is, again, just carrying on like ain't shit wrong. But you know that you're still healing from what you keep reliving that feeling. Like the moment's gone. That moment's happened 20, 15, whatever years in the past. But every time you come around this individual, you feel that pain as if it was the first time. And you know what I'm saying? And not having the skills, the communication skills to convey how this is an issue for you. And trying to teach yourself to move on because you're not able to change it, but you still have to see the person. That lets you know that healing is still needed, because whatever you hear about the person, whenever you see the person, it requires you to step back, right? Gather yourself and truly just heal your wounded inner child. Like, the present day you is fine. You know what I'm saying? If you're living in the present, everything's okay. When you stuck in the past, or when you are trying to prevent something from happening in the future, which happened in the past, your mind is in shambles. But finding like breathing exercises, focusing on your breathing will bring you to a present sense. So it's helpful to know, like, to be able to have breathing exercises like throughout the day, whenever you find your mind just warped into this toxic time lapse. And that happens I'll be honest, it happens quite often for me. And I have to remind myself, I have to remind my inner child that I got them. Like, you're protected now. Like, little you wasn't protected. And that's why the anxiety is there. There's a part of you that feels like you were not protected. You were caught off guard. They got you and whatnot. But now you got you. Nobody's coming to save you. Like, get you. Look after yourself as if you were looking after somebody else. There are plenty of us that would make sure nobody touched them, but we don't do the same thing for us somehow. It's like learning to value yourself as if you weren't yourself. And it takes time, man. Like I said, it takes awareness. Number one, it really does take awareness to do so. And I don't want to say I'm getting better at it, but now I say the most passive aggressive way that I dealt with rage is just carrying on, being around a person as if the issue isn't there, and then responding with resentment in different ways. You know what I'm saying? Especially like with family, because our family doesn't do well with allowing you to express your emotions. So you can feel the tension in the room. The lack of conversation, the comfortableness of this conversation with this person, and then when you have conversation with this person, it's like 1 or 2 words. And it's like a conversation will seal all this shit. A conversation without expectations, a conversation without entitlement, a conversation without ego, a conversation without taking anything personal, allowing that person to speak from their perspective and just listen. But our egos won't allow it. Our egos will not allow us to sit in a fucking room and have a conversation that can settle something that happened years ago in a matter of minutes. And because we're too proud, too much ego, we can't take criticism, because if we take criticism, that means we aren't lovable. So it's like this, there's some form of delusion within our mind that if there's any flaw within us, then we won't be loved. But you gotta love yourself despite the flaws, right? And the fear of abandonment, because I'm not perfect, you're going to leave me. Some of us, life has kind of taught us that, but no one left because of you, they left because of them. And that is whatever they were dealing with. It's like learning to understand that nothing anyone does is about you. So, I mean, that's my take on passive aggressiveness, and when dealing with like the most passive aggressive way that I deal with my rage. But again, it's about being honest with yourself. And if you might be able to lie to everybody else, but you can't lie to yourself. Yourself knows. Yourself knows you know who you are. For fuck, the fake it till you make it shit. You know who the fuck you are. You know what I'm saying, inside, and what you're battling, what you're not dealing with, what you're avoiding, things that you're running away from. And you have to be honest with yourself as far as like how you're going to move going forward. So I do my damnness every day to face my wounded inner child in many ways. And it's a bitch, but it's also part of growth. So just keep growing. Good night, kids. All right, so real quick, my thoughts on this Caitlin Clark shit is that I don't believe that the WNBA players are upset with Caitlin Clark. It's not really her, because they don't know her. I believe it's more about their issue is with the media and the fact that now the recognition is coming from this girl who was tearing it up in college, right? For the last few years, has made us want to see women's college basketball. And I can tell you before that it just wasn't entertaining prior, unless you really, really followed it. I mean, from a global standpoint, it's like how people there were many great golfers, Jack Nicklaus and all that stuff. But until Tiger Woods came along, it made people want to take on the game who hadn't done it before. Basketball, same thing. Before Magic and Bird, basketball was taking it was going down in ratings. And then of course they pushed the narrative, this white kid from Indiana State and this black kid from Michigan State, and they both could ball. They both could ball, not because Larry was white, because Larry could ball. And he'll bust your ass and then also talk trash in the same sense. And the same thing can be said about today's WNBA stars now, Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese. So, like the frustration, I can very much understand the fact that why are you now wanting to focus on it? Like that resentment, like we've been doing this shit. So now because Caitlin Clark is in the, like in the WNBA, now you motherfuckers want to focus. Like, yeah, I get that frustration. I can totally understand that frustration, especially feeling like, the minority or whatever in a situation where no one paid attention to women's basketball. And now they're in a position to where they have the shine on them. So it's like, you can be upset about what's going on, but you can also capitalize on the opportunity. That's like fuck the fact that Caitlin Clark is getting all the fucking, the light. Now, when you play, just bust her ass. Not in a spiteful way where y'all doing, cheap shots and shit, but literally, just play your game. Just play your fucking game. Truth be told, WNBA, no one thought about the WNBA the way that they're thinking about it now because of Caitlin Clark. And it doesn't necessarily have to be a bad thing. It just means that, okay, we finally got the spark that we needed. So let's roll with it. You know what I'm saying? But we're talking about women. Unfortunately, I know predominantly a lot of my, a lot of the, the following for this show is women, but I truly do believe that there's this cattiness that comes, this hatred because it's not me. I wasn't the one chosen for the shine and shit like that. Like, why wasn't I'm just as good as her? I'm better than her, or whatever it is. You know what I'm saying? But there's you got to suppress your ego for the sake of what's going on here. Looking at like Caitlyn is going to open the doors, and I don't want to leave out Angel Reese, but truth be told, it's because of Caitlyn Clark. Like, wasn't nobody paying the fucking WNBA no fucking mind until this girl that got compared to Steph Curry, and which is not necessarily fair to her. I mean, why not? Just let her be Caitlyn Clark. You know what I'm saying? As far as like play her game and all that stuff. But like, people are now focusing on what's going on, and I think there's a lot of that WWE shit going on too, as my boy Mark would say. Like, you got those people that those fake storylines just to make it circle things around like the WNBA and the NBA, or just hyping up storylines, just drama. Drama brings ratings, and I think that's what essentially what we're talking about here is bringing some form of drama so that we can create a buzz and get people talking so they want to watch it. And I think that it's doing pretty well. I mean, the ratings have gone up substantially over a year since from last year, of watching what the WNBA can do. And the thing is that if you remove Caitlyn Clark, let's just say these girls that like giving her cheap shots and shit, if she gets hurt, y'all going back to the same shit. There ain't nobody watching that shit. Like, from a collective standpoint, like, I remember WNBA games were only on Lifetime. Now they're on ESPN2, and I think they're on another network. But before, nobody was feeling that shit. And it's not to say that these girls can't ball. They just weren't entertaining and marketable. And that's the difference. Caitlyn Clark is entertaining. Caitlyn Clark is marketable. And then when you add on Angel Reese with her whole, whatever villain side, whatever they're trying to pin on her, I just think she's a very competitive person. And I don't think that it's fair to put her as a villain. She's just playing ball, man. They play ball. Caitlyn, same thing. Caitlyn get rowdy too. You know what I'm saying? It's, to say that race isn't a factor in the sense of showing aggression. You know what I mean? Sometimes, there's a lot of times in the NFL, Tom Brady's able to show frustration and break fucking tablets on the sideline. But whenever Chad Johnson or Tara Owens shows some frustration, then it's like, oh, they don't know how to carry themselves. They they're animals and whatnot. It's the same shit. It's literally the same shit. So just allow humans to be humans. And when you're when you're passionate about something, especially sports, you're going to get frustrated on things. So allow players to be frustrated. But honestly, my thoughts are this is a great opportunity for Caitlyn to really like bring some revenue. Number one, because that's what's you need money. You need money to promote. You need money to for marketing. You need money to for merchandise and all that stuff. And then the fact that she's there is going to shine light on the ones that's been doing it. You know what I'm saying? Like, she's doing, but I mean, she's the first. I'm not gonna say she's the first because there's been plenty of women that have played ball. But like from this, there's a pivotal moment right now that we're seeing where this young lady could very well amplify what's going on within the WNBA for women to come, the women that's before her, and all that stuff. You know what I'm saying? So it's just, like I said, it's just that cattiness. I also believe it's the media portraying shit too, because they can spin somebody's words and make a statement with that just to create drama, because it gets people watching the stuff. So now everybody's got all eyes on what's Caitlyn gonna do. Are they gonna get better? And I think that we'll see what happens going forward, whether she gets better, whether other teams play her harder, play her lesser, whatever it is. But overall, I think that what Caitlyn Clark and these other young ladies that are playing with her that came out of the draft class, like Cordoza out of South Carolina, I think she's going to do well. Her and Angel Reese are teammates now in Chicago. The Chicago Sky, shout out to Chicago, being a Bulls fan. Never mind what you see here, but Miami is always going to be loved. But I just look forward to seeing what happens with this thing for women's sports. And another thing, and on a closing note, women support women. How about that? That's another issue. How about women support the women the way that y'all support the NFL and the way that you support all the other sports? So sport, yeah. So sport WNBA. You know what I'm saying? Do your diligence in supporting the the WNBA, and so that they can get up there with the NBA and NFL. Like, that's how the ratings got better, because women were supportive of the NFL and the NBA. So you have your power. Use it. Peace.
you.